The end of Final Fantasy VII Remake has left us with a lot of questions in regards to the direction in which the franchise is going, which I think is a good thing. Nomura himself has even said he loves doing these type of things because it keeps the conversation going and helps hype up the next game. At the end of Remake, we see the Arbiter of Fate defeated, and Zack is shown to be alive.
Wait, was that all of them?
And Midgar has radically changed for him, which is leaving a lot of questions with a lot of people, and a lot of hopes and concerns for how the story is going to unfold. With that said, here are my thoughts on how I think things are going to play out. So the Arbiter of Fate was designed to be a defense for the planet, to make sure the events happen exactly how they did in the original game. But why does the planet want things to happen the same way? Does it have a reason? Well, yeah, the planet wants things to happen the same way because, well, the planet wins in the original. Sure, Cloud and company end up defeating Sephiroth and saving the planet, but ultimately, the human race ends up ending, and ends up going into the life stream. This was confirmed by game director Katase in an interview. And once humanity's gone, it gives the planet a chance to regrow and, well, be reborn. To me, it seems like the planet wants the people gone as much as it did Sephiroth. I mean, it is screaming in pain because of them, right?
You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
You really hear that?
Damn straight I do!
Get help.
With the new naming convention going on in the games, we know the names allude to what's happening in the games. Remake was not a true remake. In fact, it was a reference to Sephiroth remaking the current timeline. Intergrade was about integrating Yuffie and Deepground into the story at an earlier point. And Crisis Core Reunion, well, as far as I can tell, is about reuniting us with those lost characters. Although the theme of reunion isn't that uncommon in Final Fantasy VII.
A touching reunion.
And with the next title being Rebirth, well, what exactly could that be referring to? So first, let's think about a few things. We know Sephiroth is from the original timeline, or at least he has memories of it. And Cloud and company, well, they retrieve the black materia for Sephiroth in this timeline, unintentionally. And Aerith activates the white materia and dies joining the life stream. Sephiroth uses the black materia to summon Meteor, Cloud and company end up using the white materia to summon Holy, and with Aerith being in the live stream, she gives them the final push they need in order to defeat Sephiroth. At least until Advent Children happens anyway.
Good to see you, Cloud.
It is also revealed that Hojo is in fact Sephiroth's father and wants to help his son achieve his goals of being a space parasite. He also further ends up wanting to help Sephiroth by shooting him with a laser full of Mako energy. So now that Sephiroth has the knowledge of how he's been defeated, he uses some voodoo magic, most likely just riding the life stream back in time. And Sephiroth has come back to change events so that way he can win. I do, however, think he does not know about the events that happen in Dirge of Cerberus, which introduces two new weapons, Chaos and Omega, but we'll get into them a little later. In Remake, we see Sephiroth multiple times trying to alter events, but constantly failing due to the intervention of the Whispers and the Arbiter of Fate. For example, he tries to direct Cloud away so that way he can never meet Aerith, but the Whispers end up holding Aerith in place so that way Cloud is forced to meet her. One of the more extreme examples is he even kills Barret. And the Whispers end up bringing Barret back to life because, well, Barret's not supposed to die then.
This death was not the one ordained for you by fate.
Thanks.
Problem is, these ghosts are also affecting Cloud and company. Like, it stalls them from getting to Sector 7 plate in time to help stop it from falling.
We have to get past, whatever it takes. Right.
So Sephiroth does what Sephiroth does best. He manipulates Cloud and company into defeating the Arbiter for him. And by doing this, we now have an unknown journey that awaits us. Aerith even warning us that if we go past this point, there is no return.
This is the point of no return.
Once the Arbiter's defeated, Sephiroth tells Cloud that he isn't ready yet, and that he still needs Cloud's strength.
Let us defy destiny together.
Never.
Not yet.
Now, once the fates are gone, things start radically changing. The first thing we see is Zack is able to survive his execution from Shinra.
Boy, oh boy. The price of freedom is steep.
And he also watches Midgar strangely change in front of him. And at the end of Intergrade, we also see Zack showing up at Aerith's church. However, she's strangely gone. So Midgar changing, I'm a little unsure about. It seems to possibly imply that there's an additional event that's also been altered, but we don't really have much to go off of. But I feel like this event's probably why the dog stamp changed, and it might also be the reason Jesse never joins Avalanche, and maybe even the reason that Jenova is in Midgar instead of at Nibelheim. It also seems to want to imply that Zack not only survived, but he brought himself and Cloud into the remake timeline, right around when the plate fell, which I don't really think is the case at all. I think Zack and Cloud are in a new timeline, the Zack Lives timeline. I think they both probably stumbled to the same place Cloud did where Tifa found him, and she probably took them both in and healed them both up. Obviously Zack's going to want to see Aerith right away, but he might not be able to cross sectors at the time, so Zack and Cloud might end up both helping with the bombing run and the attack on Reactor 5. And I'm pretty sure with Zack's presence being there, these events are going to go a lot smoother. However, this would also prevent Cloud from ever meeting Aerith, or at least not until later on. Reason being is after the bombing run, Zack and Cloud might go a completely different way, and Cloud would just never fall through the plate after the attack on Reactor 5. And I would imagine after these attacks on the reactors, and Aerith not being distracted with Cloud, she probably might bring some of these refugees to her church. Which would explain why the refugees in Zack's cutscene at the end of Intergrade are so well dressed, because they're not dressed like the people who live in the Sector 7 slums. But then, why would Aerith be gone? Well, we saw in Remake that as soon as Cloud fell through and landed in Aerith's flower bed, Reno did randomly show up and seemed to want to take Aerith away. And, well, probably without Cloud being there, she's gonna get taken.
He's my bodyguard. And a soldier. Pretty cool, huh?
And the people in the church who were there with her are probably going to be a little distraught, which might explain why they're crying.
For me, okay?
Zack probably shows up not too long after, and no Aerith. This is also around the same time when Tifa's going to go to Walmarket and find out about the plan of the plate falling in Sector 7. Without Cloud meeting Aerith, the events of Don Corneo are probably going to be a little bit different, but Tifa seemed like she was pretty confident that she would be able to do it anyways.
But I'll be fine. You've seen how much ass I can kick?
I have.
And maybe the new Cloud would provide assistance anyways. Who knows, maybe Zack catches up to them and plays dress up too.
Oh, no, you don't. You're going after her.
She's a big girl. She can handle the likes of him. And worse.
Now, with Zack being present when the plate falls, I think events would go a lot different. I think someone other than Aerith would have time to save Marlene. I think he could save Biggs. I think he might even be able to stop the Turks.
How do we stop it?
Who knows?
Plate separation initiated.
You son of a bitch! What
And by
have you
confronting the
done?
Turks and beating Reno and Rude, I could see Sung making an appearance.
Nothing. There is nothing you can do now.
Which Sung knows Zack.
Protecting the subject.
Sung would probably end up informing Zack that they have kidnapped Aerith and are holding her at Shinra Corp.
You're the only one I can depend on. I'm counting on you.
That being said, I ultimately do still think the plate will fall. I mean, in Remake, Sung even mentions that if they didn't drop the plate, someone else would
Had we
have.
refused, someone else would have completed the task. We have spared that someone the burden of a guilty conscience.
This again would cause the team to go attack the Shinra building as they did in Remake, only things would probably once again go smoother because, well, Zack's there. He would also have more knowledge of the building, and probably be able to sneak them in a little bit better without raising as much as a fuss.
So far, so good.
They would probably end up rescuing Aerith and go to the roof to end up getting evac'd, similar to exactly what happened in Remake, only I think they would actually end up getting evacuated off the roof.
Shit.
Instead of the chopper going down and them having to do that crazy car chase. More interesting though, is that Wedge will be able to do whatever he was trying to do in Remake, which we're not really clear on. I think whatever Wedge was doing though would probably trigger deep ground events to happen sooner. which, as he wanted, would probably make a difference.
Tell me that I made a difference.
But again, I'll get to these deep ground and Cerberus events a little bit later. I think once they escape through the rooftop, something strange will all of a sudden happen.
I wouldn't celebrate just yet.
Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Barret, and Red 13 would all disappear. Zack will most likely think this is some type of trick from Sephiroth and try to find out what happened to his comrades and begin a search for them. But that's enough about Zack. Ultimately, I think he's going to subscribe and like this video, and then he's going to pursue the group in some type of fashion. He's going to want to find Aerith, and in turn he's going to end up finding everyone else. Now the reason I say everyone's going to just disappear is because Cloud and company is actually walking into Zack's timeline. This is where the crossroads intersect. And the reason they disappear is I just don't see them doing a whole 2 versions of the same person going on in a timeline routine. Now by going into Zack's timeline and having no Arbiters of Fate, I think things are going to be very similar, but also can be much, much different. But Cloud and company are still going to be in pursuit of Sephiroth. So certain things like them going to Nibelheim, going to the Golden Saucer, and although optional, Yuffie and Vincent will most likely still join, and I think the buggy's going to end up breaking down, causing them to go to Cosmo Canyon and meet Bugenhagen.
Count me in.
If it's to be a hunt, you could use a nose like mine.
Now Bugenhagen is most likely going to explain a lot of this timeline weirdness we got going on, and probably reference the fact that they are both displaced, but they're still going to go on their journey, because they want to get the Holy Materia and have Aerith do her part. And in turn, Sephiroth is going to do his thing by trying to get the black materia from the group. I do think we're going to see more reunion copies though, and Sephiroth is going to keep drilling the point into Cloud's mind that he may in fact be a copy. Once again, Cloud having a mind break and giving the black materia to Sephiroth. And then once again, Aerith is going to try to leave on her own because she's not sure if she can trust Cloud, and she's probably also getting worried that they're going to try to prevent her from doing the prayer. This is where I think things are going to start getting crazy.
Boundless, terrifying freedom.
I want to reiterate the point though, that the planet has previously won and wants to win again. The planet knows it does have the weapons available to it, but it knows the weapons do ultimately fail, and that Cloud and company are needed to defeat Sephiroth.
What the hell did I just see?
A glimpse of tomorrow if we fail here today.
I even think Cloud and company are going to start seeing visions of the weapons ahead of time, and Bugenhagen's probably going to give them some reference as to what the weapons truly are and how destructive they can be. I think this is further going to make the group try to find a way to not only defeat Sephiroth, but possibly try to prevent the planet from using weapons. But the question is, how are they going to do this? Is Bugen going to drop some secret ancient knowledge on them that maybe they can use to do this? Maybe, but the point I'm trying to get at here is that they're now in a 3-race struggle. There's Cloud's group representing humanity, Sephiroth representing Jenova, and the planet, well, representing itself. Sephiroth has the knowledge, and he knows that if he can prevent the white materia from being created, as well as Aerith not entering the life stream, there probably isn't really a way they can defeat him.
You are too weak to save anyone. Not even yourself.
With that said, let's get back to Aerith leaving on her own for the white materia. Because I think at this point, Sephiroth is going to attack early. If Sephiroth attacks and kills her here, she won't be able to do the prayer, and even if she does join the live stream, it's not going to matter. That being said though, I don't think Aerith is going to end up being alone. I think this is where Zack's going to end up intersecting with the party, and that Zack and Aerith together are going to end up scaring Sephiroth off. And then Zack's going to end up accompanying her to the temple. I'm sure when Sephiroth leaves in some cryptic way, he's going to mention how the prayer isn't enough and a sacrifice needs to be made.
Those who look with clouded eyes see nothing but shadows.
Once this happens, Zack and Aerith are going to have a cute little romp, kind of similar to how Cloud and Aerith had all those scenes together in Sector 5.
Not half bad. So do you moonlight as a crane operator or something? Yeah? Weird.
But it's going to be a lot more of, I missed you, did you read my letters? And it's just going to make us want a happy cry seeing them together finally.
The same rank.
Huh? As who?
The first guy I ever loved.
I think Zack and Aerith are going to eventually get to the temple, and Aerith is going to begin her prayer. I think once again, however, Sephiroth is going to show up, and Zack is going to, again, intercept Sephiroth. However, Sephiroth isn't going to be after Zack, or Aerith. In fact, he's going to be really annoyed that Zack's getting in his way. Probably even informing Zack that, hey, I'm not the one you need to be stopping right now. I think in this key moment, that's when the planet's going to make its move. You see, the planet wants Aerith to complete the prayer and wants her to become part of the life stream. But how exactly is the planet going to act? What can the planet even do at this point? Is it going to whip out some lone whisper, launch a weapon early? With the Arbiter of Fate out of the way, the planet doesn't have a champion to represent it anymore. It doesn't have a hero. But what if it did? I think this is when we're going to get introduced to that very hero, the savior of the planet, Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Sorry, I mean Genesis.
The world needs a new hero.
I think Genesis will strike on behalf of the planet, causing a visceral reaction from Zack and Sephiroth alike. He's also probably going to drop a couple bars from Loveless.
Nothing shall forestall my return.
Sephiroth will end up leaving and probably end up being coy and smug, saying it doesn't matter, he has other plans. After all, he has a reunion to get to, a meteor to summon, and a date with the plumber. Now I think instead of the classic scene where we see Cloud let Aerith go, I think we're going to see Zack do it instead. Probably saying something heavy and tear-jerking, and then swearing vengeance upon Genesis. I think around this time, Cloud and company are going to end up making an appearance. However, Zack's already going to be leaving and Cloud's going to catch a glimpse of him. This glimpse is going to obviously break Cloud's mind and further make him think he's a copy. Now the question is though, you're probably wondering, why would Genesis even do this? It's kind of simple. Genesis has always waited for a time where he can become the hero. And in his last line of Loveless, he mentions that he will be the dew that cleanses the land, and he will offer himself in sacrifice.
To become the dew that quenches the land. To spare the sands, the seas, the skies. I offer thee this silent sacrifice.
After all, the planet did heal him of his degradation, and now the planet, who he considers to be his goddess, will call upon its righteous hero to protect it. We know that Genesis was taken by Deepground, but according to the G reports in Dirge of Cerberus, we know that he never actually joined the faction.
But will he accept his fate willingly?
It wasn't until later in the game we even saw him, and he just flew off with Whis' body, saying they had much work to do. There is a book called Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, The Complete Guide, which gives more contents around Crisis Core, and it mentions that Genesis goes into slumber, waiting for a time to be woken up when the planet calls upon him. And as we've seen from Mission Integrate, the Deepground and Dirge of Cerberus stuff has been pushed way forward, with Yuffie fighting Nero, losing Sona to him. And even in the simulator, we already see that Whis the Immaculate has signs of Hojo entering his mind already and is being taken control of. After this, I think some of the events are gonna kind of play out the same. I do, however, think Genesis is gonna make an appearance at Northern Crater, though. Sephiroth is still gonna summon his meteor and put his barrier up, and I think in turn Genesis is then going to summon the weapons. And this is kind of around when I think this game is gonna end. It's gonna paint that grim picture that Cloud is now missing and we don't know where he is, and the rest of the party is held in custody by Shinra. I do, however, think one of the closing scenes is going to tease that Zack's on his way to save the party from Shinra. And I also agree with Maximilian Dude when he says the next game is going to be a globe-trotting adventure. They're going to be trying to find the secret of the ancients to find a way to not only beat Sephiroth, but also prevent the planet from being straight up pissed at them. And while our party is trying to pursue the knowledge of the ancients, Genesis is going to be pursuing us because he wants Vincent's Chaos Materia, but he also wants the Omega Materia from Hojo as well. For those of you who don't know, Chaos's purpose is to bring all life back into the life stream by most likely killing everyone, and Omega's purpose is to absorb the life stream and then take that life stream and find a new planet. Sounds strangely similar to what Sephiroth and Jenova plan. Which I think Hojo, instead of using a laser cannon full of Mako to buff Sephiroth, I think he's going to try to use the Omega Materia to buff Sephiroth instead. Because of this, I think we're going to have a two-party system going on. We're going to have Cloud's group, who's pursuing the knowledge of the ancients.
Local florist.
Lab rat dog. And where are the rest of you? Up your ass.
And then we're going to have Zack's group, who's trying to stop Genesis from getting the materials. I think most likely Vincent and Yuffie are going to end up joining Zack, the reason being both of them have history with Hojo and Deep Ground. And Zack's just going to want to pursue Genesis for revenge. I also think with Hojo having knowledge that Genesis is around again and pursuing his Omega Materia, he's probably going to get the Sphinx and other Deep Ground members to actually protect him. I think in the final Requiem of the game, we're going to see Cloud's group and Zack's group both come together and stop Sephiroth and make the planet not be pissed in the process. Zack probably making a heroic sacrifice at some point. And if you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments whether you like this idea or think it's completely stupid.
As a soldier.
I'm looking forward to being put on blast.
Come and get it!